and, inspiration. In the back there.
Thank you for coming tonight. And I just had a question, two questions actually. One was, which park was the enormous tree in? You showed that had a little tiny house next to it. Was that very, very large tree?
That's at the very bottom of Prospect Park.
Okay.
The southern entrance in, and it says in my book.
Okay, yeah, I'll check in the book. I just wanted to know approximately. Oh, question I had was, I grew up here in the 70s, and the parks have sort of always had a little bit of a dangerous connotation in my mind. Like, my mom was always like, don't go to the park by yourself kind of thing. And I don't think you could have done this project then, but I wondered if you encountered any odd circumstances or anybody living in the parks or anything like that.
I had an odd circumstance, and I did something, with a kind of bravado foolishness that I regretted afterwards, but it worked. I'm still here. I was up in the north end of Central Park. I was sort of scouting to see what the north end was like, because it's kind of rugged there too. And I was making a photograph, and some guy jumped up from behind a rock. He had just done a drug deal, and he came running at me, threatening me, and I had on a badge, a Parks Department badge. And he started threatening me, and I just pointed my finger right in his face, and I told him to get the out of here, because I didn't take his picture, and you have no right to be here, and get it. And he ran away. And I thought, what did I do that for? It must have been the badge that gave me the courage. Honest, I mean, it was an impulse, That shows you that little bit of authority, Now you know why when cops pull you over at the light or something, it's that little bit of a badge gives you the muscle to do that. Yes, sir.
You're sort of like on the Ken Burns. You covered the Ground Zero, the war, and now national parks. Do you see a sort of trend here? Is this the time we're living in? It's the turn of it's 1909 again, and do you see a sort of a parks movement? In lieu of the war not working or whatever. People, a whole nother theater, whatever.
Well, we do have other issues besides the war, and certainly the environment's a big one. And, for myself, I feel at my age now, it's come to me that I should do more socially useful work rather than just do my personal work with the argument within the medium. I felt like for 30 years I argued for color photography. I argued for street photography. I tried to sort of fight the good fight to make sure that photography was recognized as a serious art form. At a time when I began, no one gave a crap about photography. I once saw a show right around the corner here on 10th Street. There was one gallery in New York in 1964, and Ansel Adams had a show. It was called the Underground Gallery. It was in a Chinese laundry, a defunct Chinese laundry below ground level on 10th Street. And the prints was selling for $25, and no one was buying them. That's where photography was when I began. So what hope was there, So all of my life as an artist, I've sort of talked up the game, kept photography, as visible as I could make it, and at least in my circle of friends. And at this point in my life, making work that is more useful seems to be what I'm doing. So I can't speak to the larger question you asked, but certainly for myself, projects like this are important to me. Yes?
Did Ache have any influence on you?
Excuse me?
Eugene Ache, did he have his work?
Was Ache an influence? Absolutely. He was a huge inspiration to me. You all know Atget's photographs, I'm sure. He was an incredibly modern photographer for a man who worked in the late 1800s and the early part of the 20th century. He made works that were, surprisingly contemporary in terms of his intelligence and how he chose to make a frame. And those things have certainly influenced me to this day. Yes. Here comes it a mic.
What is your next project?